listen to the Lap Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 170 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor, Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Tonight, Lap Traffic Nation, is a good night. Doesn't it feel great to know that NASCAR's back until November? 3 races in, and just such a good feeling to know that there's something always to watch. We're good for a while. Lots to talk about from this weekend. Obviously, some drama. Yesterday, we got lug nut issues to talk about. That is going to be the phrase of the weekend, lug nut. I can only imagine between practice, qualifying, and races, how many times lug nut is going to be brought up this weekend. This past weekend, after the Auto Club, 3 races in, each manufacturer has picked up a win. Looking forward to talking about that a little later as well. This past weekend, a little more low-key than last weekend. No crazy Garth Brooks concert to go to. Just hung around Friday night. Saturday, went to dinner. Sunday, lounged around all day. Cooked some meat on the smoker. That's just going to be a common occurrence from now on. Buddy Zalen came over to watch the race, and I think we played about 5 games of Madden football afterwards. Just a perfect Sunday. And last Thursday was really cool. Got a visit from MIS. Yes, Brad from MIS, who's been so amazing over the years, was in my neck of the woods. He stopped by. We talked about the shows, the changes, some things that we can do for each other this year, which I'm very excited about. I normally meet up with them in January or February each year, so it was great to catch up with Brad. So excited to work with MIS again this year for sure. All right. Let's get things going. Lots to talk about. But before I do, don't forget the Lap Traffic Podcast is a part of the Big Heads Media Network. Big Heads has you covered from sports to entertainment, so go check out Big Heads Media for all your podcast needs. Tonight, Lap Traffic Nation. From Colleague Racing, I was getting ahead of myself there, Justin Haley is going to be on. Very excited about that. Recorded an interview with him on Saturday while he was at the track, which was pretty cool. Let's see. We'll recap Auto Club, social media shout-outs. Brian Newdorf will be on to talk a little weather for Phoenix, and, of course, fantasy to close it out. So let's get things going with Justin Haley. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 3rd appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He is the driver of the number 11 Leaf Filter Chevrolet with Colleague Racing. Welcome back to the show, Justin Haley. What's up, man? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just hanging out here in California, waiting for the race.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a rare Saturday interview for me. You're at the track, which is pretty cool. I don't do this too often. You had 2 practice yesterday. Top 15s looks like out there on the board. You got qualifying today. How is the car feeling for you, man?
We were struggling a little bit yesterday. First practice, we had a fuel pump go bad, and that took away from some of our time. Had a few cars blew up. Put a lot of speedy dry on the racetrack, so it made it super difficult to know what our car was doing. But we got some pretty good long run speed. Just got to figure out where the qualifying speed is. So hopefully we can go out there today and qualify it pretty fast, and then put ourselves in a good position to show that race speed later on.
Excellent. Depending on the track, the weekend, sometimes you qualify, the day of the race, the day before. Do you have a preference, anything that seems to fit for you better mentally or anything like that?
No. I mean, just whatever schedule gets thrown our way. The NASCAR's changed up the schedule a little bit this year. Normally, last year we had 2 55-minute practices. This year we get a 55-minute practice and a 20-minute practice. So they cut our practice time down a good amount. Last weekend at Las Vegas, they only gave us an hour of just one practice. So that kind of hurts us a little bit, not having all that practice, but just got to deal with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You kind of got to just go with the flow sometimes with that regard. Justin, you and I talked a couple times last year, and we talked about consistency. You guys were running and consistently finishing in the top 10. You finished last year with 20 top 10s. What'd you guys work on the off season to kind of take that next step up to go out there and compete a little bit more for wins and top fives?
We just had to get better, me mentally, myself, and then the cars as well. I mean, just car racing as a whole, you need to build new cars and find speed in the wind tunnel and take what you learned from the previous season and apply it in the off season to be better. So we've kind of gotten thrown a few different ways with this new tire that Goodyear's brought this year. It's a new compound. So honestly, a lot of the notes we had last year just kind of get thrown out the window and you got to kind of restart. So that's kind of unfortunate, but just got to work for it, and everyone's faced with the same issues, same battles, and,
Sure.
and we're all fighting the same issues. So in that aspect, it's kind of a level playing field.
You're at Auto Club. You've raced there a few times. You've raced at Michigan a few times as well. MIS, my home track. I actually had a meeting with them this week, so I'm extra pumped for June, even though I know it's barely March 1st here, leap year on the 29th here. Can you make a correlation? I know back in the day they used to say Auto Club and Michigan were somewhat sister tracks. I think Auto Club surface is kind of weathered and taken a little bit more character than what MIS has. But is there still a correlation between Auto Club and Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, they are super close. Just the size of the track, the amount of grooves. I think Michigan is a little more locked down to one groove now with the packages we run and with PJ1 that they have started to apply. But California's racy. You can use a lot of the racetrack. Tire fall off is something we don't fight at Michigan, but we fight here. So I think maybe if you would repave Auto Club, it would be pretty much identical to Michigan. But the more it wears, the more rough it gets, the more bumps they get put down, and I think the better it gets. So
Sure.
seams are pretty big here. If you put your tires on the seams, it's probably the biggest seam track we go to that it disrupts the balance of the car. So just trying to figure that all out. Is it big?
Well, you mentioned fall off. I know the fans like tire fall off. The drivers seem to like tire fall off, and that would be nice if we could get a little more fall off at some of these tracks. That's for sure. Just I want to talk about Kaulig Racing as a whole. You picked up your first Cup win with them last year. AJ and Ross picked up wins as well for the Xfinity team. All three of you are back again with the team. How did that help the off season? In shaping 2020. I know AJ has a little bit more of a limited role, but the knowledge and information that he can bring. You worked with Ross last year. How did that all gel and work for you guys in the off season?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing last year was AJ. He was such a big help for us on the road courses, and just having an experienced guy like him kind of overlap exactly what I was saying on the racetrack and feeling in the cars was a confidence booster for me and the team. Just knowing that we all are kind of feeling the same thing. We have an RCR alliance with Tyler Reddick last year, and he obviously won the championship, and he was a good tool for me, myself, being a rookie and going to new tracks that I probably wasn't comfortable with quite yet. And he just sped that process up a good bit. So, definitely, I think we grew a lot last year as a team and within myself. And as the later parts of the season went on, we kind of showed that. And like I said, this year we've kind of been thrown with a new tire that's, kind of thrown the notes out from last year a little bit. But we're on the same playing field, and we all got to figure it out at the same time. And, I got confidence in my guys that we're going to.
Excellent. I love it. You guys were a blast to watch last year, that's for sure. And I'm excited to watch and see the growth with you and the team this year. Definitely in the upward trend, that's for sure. Justin, you spent a couple years in the Truck Series, obviously before the Xfinity Series. So what's your take on the Truck Series hype right now with the Kyle Busch bounty and all that? From a fan perspective, it's fun and exciting. What do you think about it?
I haven't followed it too much, but yeah, I mean, definitely, Truck Series is always fun, and they're kind of fighting the same new tire deal over there too as well. So it's been a few years since I've run a truck, and I definitely don't miss it. I love watching it, but I think it's one of those things where it's more fun to watch than it is to race, just because how crazy they get. So. Overall, I think Kyle's pretty good, and I think the bounty idea is going to bring some attention to the sport, and you never can turn away attention, and it's never a bad idea. So anything that helps promote the sport and gets us going in the right direction, obviously is better for all of us.
Absolutely. All right, I got one more for you. All right, so I've been playing a ton of NASCAR Heat on the PS4 lately, and I got to ask, at 20 years old, did you ever think you would be a playable driver in a video game?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it is pretty cool. It's something that you grow up thinking about, but you never really think you can. So, yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, to be honest with you, when I play the Xbox games or whatnot, I do not play as myself. I play as something, completely random. So, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely cool, though.
That's awesome. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Big thanks to Justin Haley, driver number 11 with Colleague Racing. Thanks for calling in from the track, man. I appreciate it. Justin, best of luck to you this afternoon. Look forward to watching you. Look forward to talking with you later in the season, and good luck, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Take care. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, how cool was that? Justin Haley back on the Lap Traffic podcast. Always enjoy talking with him, and it's funny. Talked about, hey, how do you break that trend? How do you get those top fives instead of the top tens? And look at that. He goes out at Auto Club this past weekend, picks up his first top five of the year. Awesome. Definitely look forward to talking to Justin Haley again this year. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, you may think, well, there's no truck race. What's he going to talk about with trucks? Well, don't you worry. Plenty to talk about. I talked about it last week. We've got all this hype around the truck series with the bounty and all this. We got to wait till March 14th to see trucks back at the track. Now, some of you may be thinking, Brandon, you've talked a lot over the last couple years about the Cup regulars racing in the other series. And you're 100% correct that I have. And I don't want it to sound like I'm flip-flopping on my take here, because I'm not. Why I like this so much, and you guys are probably going to hate me for the analogy that I am about to use, but I'm going to WWE in a couple weeks, so I got to pull out a WWE analogy. And here it is. A cage match, a ladder match, any gimmick match is great when it's not overused and the build is there, the storyline is there, and it makes sense. That's what the draw is that brings you to the event, that makes you watch it on TV. And that's exactly what this bounty is. It's something that hasn't happened that I can recall in a very long time in the NASCAR series. I know it happens at short tracks and things like that when you've got a regular, that's dominating week in, week out at a short track. But this is new. It's bringing eyes to the sport. The build is there. The storyline has been set. So it's perfect. It's the exact thing that you want to draw eyes on the sport. Yes, you're going to have Cup regulars come out and probably dominate. But the bigger gain is there, I think, to be had after it's all said and done and we're 6 or 7 truck races in. Hopefully, there are some new eyes on the truck series on Friday nights and Saturday afternoons. So that is why I am all in on the bounty. And we've got some takers and some new ones as well. Announced earlier in the week, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson are going to be stepping up to the plate. And announced today, looks like Eric Jones is going to be stepping up to the plate as well. You got Elliott at Atlanta and Kansas, Larson and Jones taking a crack at it at Homestead. And here's the cool thing. There's some similarities with Chase and Larson in the Truck Series. Chase has 12 starts and 2 wins. His last Truck Series win, Martinsville 2017, where he started and won, or he started on the pole and won the race. Larson, only one more Truck Series start. He's got 13. His last coming at Homestead back in 2016. Larson also has 2 wins, with his last coming at Eldora a few years ago. And then you've got Eric Jones, 42 truck starts, his last coming at Pocono 2018, 7 wins with his last win coming at Texas 2015. So these guys, it's been a minute since they've been in a truck. Very excited about it. You know, you still got some others talking about wanting to go and take a crack at it. Denny Hamlin has shown some interest as well. I'm telling you, the narrative for this thing is set up perfectly, and I'm so excited about it. And there's also a new bounty. Chris Larson from Homer International has announced a $50,000 bounty if a truck regular can go out and beat Kyle. So we've got one for the Cup guys. We've got one for the truck regular. If you aren't excited about the next few truck races, I don't know what to tell you. The build, the excitement, it is all there for you to sit back on a Friday or Saturday whenever these next couple truck races run. I know Atlanta's on a Saturday afternoon. It's absolutely perfect. But unfortunately, we do have to wait for this to play out until Atlanta, when the trucks will be doing a doubleheader with the Xfinity Series in a couple weeks on March 14th. I hope I've set that up for you, Lap Traffic Nation. All right, let's move over to the Xfinity race. I had to catch most of this on the DVR Sunday morning, but I was able to catch the last 30 laps or so live, which was the exciting part. Brandon Jones starts first, wins the first two stages, and looked to maybe be on his way to picking up his second Xfinity Series win, which would have been awesome considering as how his last was just 6 races ago. His first win coming late last season at Kansas. Brandon Jones is really developing into a serious contender in the Xfinity Series. Unfortunately, he had a tire issue late in the race, which resulted in a 30th place finish. But last year finished the year with a win, 6 top 5s and 16 top 10s. 3 races into this year, he's got a top 5 and 2 top 10s. If you're playing Lap Traffic Fantasy, keep your eye on Brandon Jones this year for sure. And how about Chase Briscoe? Was going for back-to-back wins late in the race. Had an amazing battle with Harrison Burton. They were side by side, flip-flopping the lead back and forth. He started third, top 5 in both stages, but he too battled a very loose race car late in the race and ended up going around finishing 19th. Again, another guy to keep your eye on this year. Definitely could be talking about him come September, October. And race winner, Harrison Burton, picking up his first career win after going winless in the Truck Series last year with KBM. There was some doubt floating around out there on whether, Burton would get another ride, what was going to happen with him. But in just his 12th start in the Xfinity Series, picks up his first win. That is a strong statement to make. And how about the broadcast side of things? Making it known, this was just an awesome fact, so I'm going to repeat it. The last Xfinity race that was ran on a leap year was won by a Burton, that being Ward Burton at the 1992 Goodwrench 200 at Rockingham. How's that for a little history? I was 10 when that happened. So definitely don't recall that race, that's for sure. But Xfinity Series will be back at it this weekend, Saturday afternoon at Phoenix. All right. Lots to talk about in the Cup side of things. Lots to talk about. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the single lug nut. And here's how I'm gonna intro this. I get the reason why it's needed for the car, the larger wheel, the weight, all that. I get the mathematical side of the reason for it. I get that. That doesn't mean I have to like that. I'm not a fan. And here's why I'm not a fan. Over the last couple of years, we've talked about, at nauseum, how hard it is to pass on the track and all this, right? Because the cars are so dialed in, the aero, the spoiler sucks them down, and it's difficult to pass. Where does a lot of passing take place? On pit road. What's the mitigating factor? Lack of, who can do it with the fewest mistakes and the quickest possible. It is a team sport. So I liked the fact of knowing that because you can't pass on the track, the drivers might speed, somebody might slip on the gun. There were factors at play on pit road, it seemed, more than on the track. So I like that fact. These guys are all-star athletes. They D1 football players are on pit crews. And so I like the fact that played a significant role in the race, since it didn't seem like the drivers, and I'm not taking anything away from either the pit crew or the drivers, but it was visual to the naked eye that it was hard to pass at the track. So let's let pit road play a role. from that regard as well, I'll lead into, hey, it's tradition, right? And tradition's good, in my opinion. There are some traditions that should be upheld. Stock car racing, it looks like a stock car wheel, like in the showroom floor. It looks like a wheel right off of a Camaro or a Mustang. But I like the 5 lug nuts. I really do. I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm not happy at the moment, and that's okay. And we're just going to see how it plays out. If the pit road plays a role still next year, then I'll be okay with it. And that's kind of how I'm going to leave it. So that's where I'm at with the whole lug nut thing. The racing. It's a pretty decent race, in my opinion. We had 8 different leaders at a 2-mile track. We don't get that too often, so I'm cool with that. I like the race. It was a pretty decent race. Guys that started at the back that we expected to make their way up to the front did. Kyle started 17th, struggled most of the afternoon. I don't think Kyle backs his way into anything, but he kind of backed his way into a P2 finish. Denny Hamlin started 28th. Martin Truex started 38th. They all made their way up to the front. Hamlin finished 6th. Truex finished 14th after some interesting comments on the radio as far as how he was being raced. Not the first time he's taken issue with other cars on the track. This week, while I didn't ask for takeaways on the race this week, I had something different for you guys. And I think there are 3 major takeaways from this weekend. And they're all individual drivers: Bowman, Johnson, and Matty D. All right, let's start with Matt DiBenedetto. Last week, Vegas, P2 finish. That is a great finish. Great morale for the team in just their second race together to be able to get a second place finish. It's great for the fans. It's great for Matt D. Solid day last weekend at Vegas. Matt D won the lucky dog vote last week, as he should have. I love that Matt DiBenedetto got a P2 last week in the race. Things happened for him, though, to get that P2 finish. He didn't race for that P2 finish. But that does not matter to P2 in the books. And I say all that to say I think the bigger takeaway is this weekend at Auto Club for Matt DiBenedetto. Finished 13th. Picked up stage points in stage 1. I think the fact that Matt D got a top 15 at a 2-mile track shows more on the positive upward trend that this team is going to have this season than last week's finish. And I cannot wait to see Matt D pull off some top 10s and top 5s and who knows what else this year. Lap Traffic Nation. Very excited for that. The second thing that has to be mentioned is Jimmy Johnson. First off, great family moment. Perfect send-off from Auto Club, where he got his first win with his family out there starting the race. Damn near got the pole. Clint Boyer just a hair faster, which, man, Clint Boyer, dude cannot catch a break. Struggled last year. Gets a pole 3 races into the new season. Finishes 23rd after some tire issues. But anyway, Jimmy Johnson has come to play in his send-off season. He's led laps. He finished 7th. At the start of the year, I would have said, you know what, I don't know that Jimmy Johnson's going to get a win. I'm pretty confident Jimmy's going to walk away with at least 1 win this year. That is for sure. And the last thing that I think we got to take away is Bowman. He picked up his first career win at Chicagoland last year. Picks up first win of 2020 and second win of his career this past weekend. And here's the important thing. Car was strong and dominant all weekend. Fastest in practice, started 3rd, won a stage, won the race. He had a bad, fast car from start to finish. He unloaded fast and loaded up the winning car, which, as we all know, the fastest car doesn't always win. But I think Bowman had one of the fastest cars and won the race, which, if you're Bowman, if you're HMS, if you're a Chevy fan, you should be very excited that they have finally found some speed. Jimmy should be happy as well that they have found some speed. A complete day and race, and you can't get upset with that. So congrats to Bowman. Now, after the Chevy talk, this leads me to my question to you guys. So last week, I said pretty similar start to 2020 like we had in 2019. Toyota and Denny won the 500 in back-to-back years. Penske won the second race of the year, so it was a similar start. It's amazing how just an extra one more race changes the narrative at the moment. Now, we might be very well back on the old narrative for the next 10 races and be able to compare the similarities of 2019 and 2020. But at the moment, I feel that it is vastly different, and I think it's fun to talk about that. 3 races in, and all 3 manufacturers have a win. And it's not with Kyle Busch and Martin Truex or Brad Keselowski. It's with Alex Bowman, Chevy. The talk of the season last year, is Chevy back? Jeff Striegel and I talked about it at length. Chase won a few races with a few one-offs. We couldn't really say Chevy was back. Now, I'm not going to go out and get all crazy and say 3 races into the year that Chevy's back. But I would not be surprised if that changes here in the next 6 to 10 races. And I hope that is the case. I think it would be good for Chevy. It'd be good for the fans. Now, like I said, I switched things up, and instead of just asking for takeaways from the race, I asked your opinion on what, if anything, does it mean that 3 races in, we have 3 manufacturer wins. And let's see what Lap Traffic Nation had to say. Mike at Mike Tuck 12. The Chevys are extremely strong, have found something. The shuffle of crew chiefs and crews at Penske is making a big impact with Ryan, but looks like it's hurting Brad. Jimmy Johnson will also have a strong finale. Eric at Eric S18_9. Love seeing HMS back in the run every week. Eddie at EG3_Fast Eddie. HMS keeps building momentum, in particularly Alex Bowman, huge statement win in California. Absolutely. Wes at Closed Mike. All 3 have won, but the overall improvement Chevy has made, especially Hendrick, is what stands out to me. Timothy at Tattoo 49ers. I thought Toyota would dominate this year. I'm very happy with seeing all 3 manufacturers have a win so far. Hopefully, it'll be a competitive season between all 3 manufacturers. Joe at Joe Siddle, Blaney, Todd Gordon, the next Truex and Pern. That's bold there, man. I like that. So here's how I'm going to close this thing out. And thank you to everyone that has responded to these Twitter questions. Keep them coming. I love it. And as well as your lucky dogs, I think it's a great way to keep you guys involved with the show as well. But here's how I'll close it out. Chevy has missed the Final Four at Homestead the last 3 years. Since switching to the new playoff format back in 2014, Chevy has missed the Final Four the last 3 years. I'll say it again. They only have 1 championship win with Jimmy back in 2016 and have only sent 4 cars to the Final Four in 6 years. And they've only had more than 1 Chevy in the Final Four back in 2014 with Harvick and Newman, and neither of them drive Chevys anymore. Toyota has had 12 in the Final Four, and Ford has had 8. We've been doing this 6 years, so that's a possibility of 24 spots, and Toyota has taken half of them. So you bet Chevy is happy right now, and I think we see a Chevy in the Final Four this year. Again, thank you to everyone to sending in your responses there. Absolutely love it. And I think it's time for a little social media. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, like on Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, Instagram, The Lap Traffic Podcast, and on Twitter, @LapTrafficPC. Listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean. All you got to do is search The Lap Traffic Podcast, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and if you have an extra 15 seconds, how about a 5-star and a little comment? I haven't had one in a minute. That'd be great. Giveaways. Had a winner last week. Got that out in the mail. Don't forget about the big 5,000 follower giveaway on Twitter. Got the rear quarter panel from an Eric Almirola car back with the RPM days. And I'll get a couple small ones out there as well. Everything went well. Everybody seemed to like to subscribe and send a screenshot that you're subscribed. I like that as well. Numbers are up. I like that. Let's see. Some shout outs to some new followers on Twitter. Justin at Jay Schuler, involved with internet marketing, but racing is his dream. He writes for Kicking the Tires. Welcome to the show. Chris at Chris Titus 1, from the home state of Lansing, Michigan, loves all types of auto racing. I only think there's one thing we would disagree on there, Chris, and that's Go Blue. The retired Dale Kid at Drewski 27. He was the crazy Dale Jr. fan in the stands at Pocono. Vinny Miller, 78 fan at Vinny Fan 78, the biggest self-proclaimed Vinny Miller and Austin Self fan. Welcome to the show. And Kevin at Red Racer from Dearborn, Michigan, involved with marketing and communications and a big fan of auto racing. Welcome to the show, everybody. Don't forget about the store. Got $15 t-shirts, all the logos, colors, hoodies, men's, women's, you name it, it's there. Go check that out. Stickers and koozies, if you want one, I have them for free for you. All you have to do is go fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and I will send one out to you. All right, business is done. I think it's time for a little weather. Let's get Mr. Brian Newdorf on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell, keeping us up to date on the weather this year. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Brian Newdorf. Sir, good evening. How are you, man?
I'm hanging in there. How are you doing?
Oh, it's Tuesday night. It's a good night. I'm all good. All good.
That's even better.
Yes.
That's even better.
Yes. All right. Before we get to weather, let's cover some non-weather related items. Number one, congratulations, you finally beat Indy.
What's that?
I said you finally beat Indy.
I finally beat Indy.
Purdue beat Indy the other day.
Oh yeah, that's our I don't know. Finally, we've owned them.
I was waiting for that.
Finally, there are kids alive who have never. I mean, think of it this way. You have seniors graduating from IU who have never experienced winning against Purdue, and I hope that trend continues. I'm just going to put it out there.
See, I lobbed you one, and it took you a minute.
Well, you could understand. Well, first of all, I would never call them Indy. Indianapolis is Indy.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The armpit is Bloomington. Let's just be honest about it.
Oh, that's brutal. That's savage mode right there. All right, you got Iowa and Rutgers to finish it out. How are you guys going to handle those two?
Boy, I wish I knew. Wow, you
guys are right smack in the middle of the Big Ten standings. You guys are like, there's no prediction. This is where you really get into the psyche of a Purdue fan. It's like, right now all we see is we're losing out. That's what that's kind of, we're in the fetal position rocking ourselves. And the only thing that makes this better is if Indiana loses out and doesn't make the tournament. That's the only thing that this makes this better. I mean, we could go down with the ship, but we want to take them with us. Fair enough. Hey, I hear you on losing out. I mean, Michigan is really crapped the bed closing it out here. I mean, they've gotten so far behind the last two games, and they burn out after the rally, and they're still down 4 with 2 to go, and then they end up losing by 10. So,
it's the way Purdue has been just crazy. I mean, how they played Michigan State and Virginia, and how they played IU the second time on the road, and it's I mean, we beat Iowa by 30 at Amaki, and now we're going there tonight. It could go either way. I mean, I'm expecting the Purdue road team that we're used to seeing getting down by 20 and then trying to, you're like, by halftime, you're just like, okay, where am I drinking right now? So, but I mean, honestly, I think it's like, I think it's literally like a 33. It's essentially a third. They have each outcome, whether they win out, they split, or they lose all of them, is equally placed in my mind. All three of them could happen equally.
Nice. I love it.
I just don't want to play the Wednesday game of the Big Ten tourney. That's all I don't want, but still.
Yeah, it's you don't want to be the early game. That's for sure. All right, let's see. What else here? Let's see. Let's get your take. Everyone's heard my take. What is your take on the change to the single lug nut in 2021?
it seems like, I mean, that's what we have in racing anymore. I see both sides. I mean, I think NASCAR fans, and I don't mean this in a negative way, a lot of things have changed. We hear about how great the racing was back in the day and all this stuff. I mean, but let's think about back in the day. Would Ryan Newman be walking away back in the day? All of these different things. Progress has to happen. I think some of the racing has been better this season from what we've seen. So, I think, and we complain about the guns. They went away from, but that was an expense. I mean, it's like basically we're never happy. I'm okay with it, generally speaking. But I mean, and I'm part of me wants to think, recently too, we've had some pretty decent drivers having good cars, and I know that's part of the sport where a miscue in the pits can ruin your day. But a loose lug nut or this or that or something like that, it just seems like we're taking too much out of the driver's hands. And I think, while this is a team sport, let's just be honest. How many of you are cheering on the right rear changer when you're in the stands? Go, woo! Nobody's doing that. We're not wearing the jersey of the gas man. Okay, in NASCAR.
That's a really fair, very fair way to put that, I think, sir. I think that's quite objective of you. I like that.
I mean, they're important, and to any crew member who listens to this, sport is wonderful because no, there are. I mean, we couldn't have it. The spotters and stuff like. I mean, I think we know who somebody's spotter is more than we know the pit crew people.
Sure, I don't disagree with that at all. Not at all.
So I mean, let's not put these guys in a position where they can completely they could be the difference in a championship.
They absolutely could play that type of a role. Absolutely.
I mean, they have a role. Let's just not make them a big role, and it could ruin somebody's, livelihood, sponsorship, whatever. I mean, it's scrapping for sure. That's my take. That's my take right now. We have to wait and see.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. Let's get through a few races next year and reassess the situation after this week. All right, man. We are headed to Phoenix, the last race of the West Coast Swing.
Yeah, of course. We're going to a desert. It's dry. It's arid. Why? It would never rain in the desert.
I can sense the sarcasm there. Lay it on.
Was I pouring it on? Was it just kind of dripping out of me?
Like the showers we might get.
It's not that bad, but I think, boy. I mean, I look at it this way. In my opinion, Vegas was dry. Yes, the Xfinity race was rained out, but I mean, the big race wasn't. Not that there's anything wrong with the Xfinity race, sure. But but yes, we've had to deal with rain on and of course, to anybody who says, well, they should have just gone to Atlanta. Every season is different. Okay. Yeah. They don't have, all right. Every season is different because of dates get moved. That's not a fair assessment. But anyway, yes, there's a chance of rain Sunday. At Phoenix, and it's not a high percentage. I talked to Aaron earlier. We did collaborate, and we still like an 80-85 odds of racing. And because I bring up odds of racing, I'm going to bring up something that somebody asked me on Twitter, and it's a valid point. So we had an 80% race odds of racing for Daytona. They raced 20 laps,
right,
and then they ran on Monday evening. That's not one of our high points, but in my defense, and this is not a good defense, I go to, for those of us in NASCAR media, there's this website we can go and get schedules. I went, got the schedule. It said February 15th. I'm like, updated. Okay, so it's been updated. It said race time 2:30. Okay, I based my situation on a 2:30 start time. Keep in mind, if they started at 2:30, we didn't race until 3:30. They got 20 laps and stuff like that. Even with everything going on, that's a hour-ish amount of time that they could have gone as far as they could have. Now, they probably would have still raced on Monday, but they would have gotten a lot farther.
Sure.
So, and then one rain shower really kind of messed things up. So the timing, that was my fault, not paying much attention. So that's where the 80% came from. Vegas was one of those where, generally speaking, we knew there was rain on that Saturday. It was going to be touchy. And then the next situation was Auto Club. And we went lower. And I think part of the reason we went lower, kind of like anything, like a Purdue fan, when your team's losing all the time, and it's been a dismal season, 500 in the, you start to get kind of pessimistic.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
when you start seeing scattered showers and you've been, ridiculed on Twitter for so long, 60% seem like a good odds of racing because
not bad.
And keep in mind, too, a lot of people ask the questions, like they let us know that tracks have lights. And a lot of times we know that. There are certain things out of our control. And we really haven't stepped out this year to say, okay, odds of racing to halfway, odds of racing to the complete race. Because when these tracks have lights, what's NASCAR going to do?
Yeah,
the rain ended at 7.
Yeah.
Rain ended at 7:45 at Daytona. They could have, raced that night, but they chose not to, which is fine.
Yeah.
And then they moved the Xfinity race to the next day after the thing. It just, there's certain elements. We forecast the weather, not the other non-weather related factors that go into these decisions. So to answer but we appreciate the questions. And I wasn't, to the person who asked me that, no, it's not a bad thing. And we at least fess up to when we and I wanted people to see what our thinking was. We try to give you the best information because, again, Aaron and I approach every NASCAR forecast like we're fans. Yes, we're fans who happen to be meteorologists, but we're fans. We're fans who have spent money on a race. We're fans who have gone to a rained out race. We're fans who have spent the money, gotten a hotel, all of that kind of stuff. So we know what goes involved in that process. That's who we are looking out for. And we want to give you the best information. And listen, we know we're not the only source out there. And we want you to be armed with as much information to make the best informed decision when it comes to a race weekend.
Sure. No, I'm with you. I am with you. All right, man. Real quick before you get out of here, lapped traffic fantasy, meteorologist, weatherman, head-to-head battle. Aaron is up 2-1 on you, but this week you're on, and it seems the small trend. There's a trend going here.
Okay, but where am I in the standings? Because the last 2 weeks up until, I'm guessing he jumped me this week, but the last 2 weeks I was still ahead of him.
All right. Well, let me pull that up real quick as I say that the last week, who's ever's been on has won the week. So
okay,
that's where we're at. But to answer your question, Aaron Studwell is currently sitting. As I scroll here through it, he is sitting 24th in the standings, and you, sir, are sitting 29th in the standings.
Okay, so I dropped. That's fine.
You're only 9 points off from each other, though. So it's
and maybe I should blame you for. Well, I guess if I won and you picked, then I should give you credit. I mean, for full disclosure, my son had an appendectomy when I had to get my picks in, and you were kind enough to make those picks for me. I did have a family. I had a family emergency.
Yes.
But, it would look really bad if I didn't put any picks in. Then it really just ruins the whole head-to-head battle.
Right. Yes. So no, everything's good. Glad your son is doing better, by the way. So that's all good. Lapped Traffic Nation. Make sure you follow Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN and Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. Make sure you're checking their Twitter handles for all the updates throughout the week. Brian, great to have you on, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks, man.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. We'll see you.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Always great to catch up with Brian Newdorf. Looking forward to talking to him in a couple weeks. Next week, Aaron Studwell will be back on. Those were some barking dogs in the background, which means it is time for this week's Lucky Dog and Lap Down segment. You know what to do. When the checkered flag falls, tweet me your Lucky Dog and Lap Down picks of the race weekend, or you can call the Wave Around hotline and leave them there, 248-965-9538. My Lucky Dog of the race weekend has to be Team Chevy. That is who I'm giving my Lucky Dog to. My Lap Down this week goes to the fact that we got hype around the truck racing, and we did not have a truck race. So that's my Lap Down. Over to your tweeted responses. Jesse at Iowa NASCAR fans. Lucky Dog is Joe Gibbs racing Xfinity drivers, proving that they belong. Jess's Lap Down. Blaney can't catch a break. Had to pit with 2 to go. Sure cost my fantasy week 2. See, that's the bigger Lap Down there, I think. Eric at Eric S18_9's Lucky Dog. Bowman winning and HMS having a strong race. Lap Down. Blaney having to pit with 2 to go. Matt at Matt X Colb's Lucky Dog. Bowman and his Goodyear tires for holding out and getting his second career win. A lap down goes to Matty D. Early on, I think he could have won. They didn't keep up at the track. He fell way back, but still got a top 15. Rowdy at the Rowdy Dragons. Lucky Dog Bowman and Team Chevy. Looks like the Chevy camp has ironed things out a wee bit. I like that. Lap down, Blaney had this track figured out this weekend. It's a bummer. His finish doesn't reflect it. Scott at 1985 Wagner's Lucky Dog Bowman. Strong and consistent team. It's getting there. Lap down, Martin Truex Jr. fail 3 inspections. Have a tire changer get injured during a pit stop. Karma is not your friend. Mick at GoDucks42_ Mix. Lucky Dog Bowman unloaded fast and crushed it. Yes, he did. Mick's lap down. Classic Mick. Hamlin gif. Ha, that's just short track racing. I can't imitate that, but that classic Mick gift there. Mike at Mike Tuck 12's Lucky Dog. Bowman had a super strong car all weekend and brought it home. Lap down is Blaney and Austin coming to pit road with less than 3 to go. Yep, you guessed it. Cost me money. Mike doing a little DraftKings there. Him and I go back and forth a little bit there. I feel you. Lisa at LL Chananas, a Lucky Dog, hands down Bowman. His car was fast all weekend. Lap down Truex from having to start in the rear just to make his way back up to the front, and then the pit stop. Kristen at K Haglin 70. I think, Chris, that's a first timer right there, I think. Lucky Dog Bowman, all the HMS teams for showing promise for a good season. A lap down is Truex for having a great comeback and then blowing it. Absolutely. Colin at Colin _ cars. A Lucky Dog Bowman and HMS showing dominance all weekend. Lap down Blaney with another almost. When is he finally going to get one this year? And last but not least, Eddie at EG3_ Fast Eddie. A Lucky Dog is Joe Gibbs Racing Xfinity duo of Burton and Riley. These guys are making some noise in the series. Many wins coming from young Harrison. Lap down Blaney having to come down pit road with less than 5 to go. Ruined another potential good finish. Absolutely. All right, those are the tweeted responses. Let's get to the calls on the Wave Around hotline.
Hey, Brandon. This is John. My Twitter handle, 2Lightning6. It was Dean, but I changed it over in the off season. Well, I'm here at the track, and my God, it's a great race all around. Just a great race weekend for both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Let's see, Lucky Dog, I'd say those with single-digit victories. We got win number 1 from Harrison Burton and win number 2 for Alex Bowman, so single digits, one at a time. So lap down, I gotta say the trash. What an absolute joke and an embarrassment. It's just, I don't know how they said on the TV, but here the trash was just flying everywhere. My God. Well, anyway, those are my comments. Talk to you later, Bren. Bye.
Oh, John. D-Nader, well, his old handle at D-Nader. I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to that, see if I can pick up what his new handle is. Man, I love when people call when they're at the track. It is absolutely awesome. Just love it. And, hey, the trash, that was evident on the TV for sure. Come on, people. Pick up your trash. All right, let's get to the next call on the Wave Around hotline.
Hi, Brandon. It's Matt at Camper News Net. This weekend with the races at Auto Club, definitely really enjoyed the races this weekend. I'm especially very happy today with the Cup race that, the rain, we were very concerned at the beginning about whether there were those pop-up showers, unlike the last couple of weekends that impacted both the Xfinity Series at Las Vegas last weekend and Daytona with the Daytona 500 a couple of weeks ago. Those pop-up showers didn't impact the race, and I was very, very happy about that, and definitely big shout out to Brian and Aaron. Definitely those forecasts. Very happy with the outcome with that forecast, and got the race in. No impacts or rain, first time this year, and definitely a great job as always to Aaron and Brian, and looking forward to more of those forecasts. As always every week throughout the season. But anyway, on to racing this weekend. I really enjoyed the races. The Xfinity Series, towards the end of that Xfinity Series race on Saturday was definitely an exciting race to watch. I really enjoyed that. And the Cup Series was a good race today. Feel really bad for Ryan Blaney at the end, but I'll get to that in a sec. So my lucky dog for this week, I actually got two. First in the Xfinity Series for Harrison Burton with his first career Xfinity Series win. Very exciting. The finish at the end definitely was a very great finish. I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun to watch, and definitely something that, I think Harrison Burton is going to get up there one day, and hopefully, we'll get a seat in the Cup Series one day. One of the Burns won, I think it was Jeff Burton in 2007, and another Burton, the only other one on Leap Day. It was very exciting. I really enjoyed that race, and that's one of my lucky dogs for this week. And the other one has to go, of course, to the Alex Bowman in the Cup Series today with the win, second career win, the Cup Series, and I think Alex Bowman, definitely had a great race, and in fact, Hendrick Motorsports, 3 out of the 4 drivers, including Jimmy Johnson, in the top 10 in finishes this weekend at our Auto Club. It definitely was a great weekend for Hendrick Motorsports. I'm very happy for them. And my lockdown has to go to Ryan Blaney. Had a very good, strong race today, and it all came down to he had that tire problem at the end. Ryan Blaney, absolutely, really feel bad for him, with that tire issue at the end that really ruined his chances of having a great day and a second place finish. It's a little unfortunate for him, but, there's other times I'm hoping, Ryan will be able to get those finishes that, he deserves, and, hopefully it'll be a good year for him, but just very unfortunate, unlucky that, he got that tire issue with a couple laps ago, had to come in. Obviously, safety comes first, and, I think he did a good job in deciding his crew chief coming in to decide to get that tire and, changed, because otherwise that could have caused a lot of problems with the car with damage. So, that's it for this week, and enjoy your week as always, and I'll talk to you next weekend after, of course, the last race of the West Coast Swing at ISM Raceway. So I'll talk to you then, and have a great week, Brandon, and thank you so much.
Oh, Matt, thanks for calling in, brother. I tell you, I love your enthusiasm on the Wave Around Hotline. I can feel and hear your excitement. I absolutely love it, and I absolutely hope when I do a listener call-in show that you take part in that this year for sure. All right, got 2 more for you. Let's get to the next call on the Wave Around Hotline.
Hey, Brandon, it's Kathleen at KHI Fan. I enjoyed both races this weekend. Sure, the Xfinity race started out a little bit slow, but I think it really amped up in the second half, and that was more important. I'd rather have a great second half than the opposite. The Cup race was entertaining all race long, as far as I was concerned. I had fun watching that one. I'm going to weigh in on the one lug issue now that it's been announced. I've always liked the strategy of pit stops and the human factor that goes along with making a pit stop either a good one or a bad one. And I'm thinking that one lug might take away some of that. I would be disappointed if that happened, but I am going to keep an open mind, and I'm willing to see what happens. I hope that the pit stop strategy is still an important part of the race. My lucky dog this week is going to go to Harrison Burton for knocking off that first win early, especially after the dig he took last year from Kyle. This should be a confidence booster for him. So I'm hoping that we see a lot of good things from that young man this year. I like him. My lap down is going to go to Christopher Bell and his rather slow start that he's getting so far this year with 3 not so great finishes. It's no fault of his own, but still, going from the top of the hill to kind of the bottom must be very frustrating, and hopefully things will turn around for him. And I had such a good weekend last week in fantasy that I'm pretty sure I've got the MOATF blokes across the pond shaking in their boots a little bit because I'm right behind them. Hopefully this weekend I can make up some ground. Anywho, that's all I have for now, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Oh, Kathleen, thank you for calling in. I love it so much. So much to say because Kathleen, everybody knows, I think, that Kathleen and I have become pretty good friends over the years. We've met up at the racetrack a bunch of times, and we just have a lot of the same objective opinion on everything, and it's not something every race fan has. I said the same thing a little bit ago on the lug nut thing. Like, I like the human element a little bit. I really do, and I'm going to keep an open mind. And I swear to God, I do not listen to these calls until I pull them up on my phone and play them, just because that keeps it fun for me as well. So I love that. And the second thing is Kathleen a little bit ago on Twitter tweeted that she sent in her picks this week for fantasy and made a made a truck pick, and there's no truck pick. And she used a gift that had a pair of glasses in it. And everybody knows that last year at Chicagoland, I lost my glasses, and it was a very frustrating few hours there. Fortunately, the gentleman who was manning the booth in the media center up top of the grandstands brought me a pair of glasses, and that helped. They weren't near my prescription strength, and that's a bummer because it just shows how bad my eyes are. But it was funny, and nonetheless, I will never live that down. I shouldn't live it down because it's a very funny story. So thank you for keeping that alive, Kathleen. I absolutely love it. And all right, one last call on the Wave Around Hotline. It is the voice of the Wave Around Hotline, Mr. Andrew Cansian.
What's up, Brandon? And Lap Traffic Nation, voice of the Wave Around Hotline, calling in for his weekly hot takes, coming from Auto Club Speedway. Not literally, I was not in Auto Club. Alex Bowman, man. Hell flipping yeah. I've always been a big fan of Alex. I wouldn't say he's my favorite driver, but definitely a number 2 guy for me that I root for. It's kind of lose track of the guys I root for now. As I get a little bit older in the sport, and my all-time favorite's no longer driving, you tend to root for some other drivers outside of just one. You become more of a fan of the sport. And it was so cool to see Alex win in a contract year. Doesn't have sponsorship. He keeps winning like that. I think sponsorship dollars will come, and I hope he's back in that 88 car because that's a good pairing, I think, with him and Greg Ives. And the new Camaro seems to have a lot of potential. I had a brain fart there, as usual. To really do some good things for Chevy this year, and they were all running up front towards the front. Kurt Busch, had a good run as well. Lucky dog of the race. It's too early to say Chevy's back. I want to see a bigger sample size. I'll say they're back. We got a lot more intermediates in the first part of the year than in years past, with Homestead getting realigned a little bit. So maybe in May I'll say Chevy's back. But long-winded, lucky dog, my man Alex Bowman, the winner. Lap down, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway because whatever. Package because I still don't like it. Have a great show, bud, and I will talk to you next week from the desert.
Oh, Mr. Andrew Cansian, absolutely, man. I'm gonna stop giving you an intro because you intro yourself perfectly there. Absolutely love it, and I agree with you 100% on Chevy. Sample size not big enough, but liking what I'm seeing, and good call as far as a few extra intermediate tracks thrown into the mix early with Homestead there. Absolutely love it. Thanks for calling in. All right, that is going to do it for this week's Lucky Dog and Lap Down picks. Let's close this thing out with a little Lap Traffic fantasy. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, just a reminder to get your picks in by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. Keep the Twitter interaction up. You guys are tweeting your picks. Absolutely love that. Keep talking some friendly trash out there on social media about who your picks are, where you are in the Lap Traffic standings. Don't forget to email your picks to fantasylaptraffic@gmail.com. Track your cup picks on the website so that you don't send in a duplicate and get 0 points for a weekend. I would absolutely hate for that to happen. There are 11 races to go, or 11 weeks to go, I should say, in segment 1. No one swept the weekend, but 2 players, Crystal Smoke and Scott Anderson, did pick Burton in the Xfinity Series, and only Scott Gibbs took Bowman in the Cup Series. So nice job there. Weekly high was 93 by Crystal Smoke, who will be on here in just a minute with her picks of Blaney and Burton. Second week high, very close, was 91 by Danny Litwin with his picks of Jimmy Johnson and Daniel Hemrick. My picks of Austin Cindric and Keselowski got me a respectable 87, not too far back, and I jumped up 5 spots, but it doesn't matter because I am well outside the top 10. Let's get to the top 10 in standings here. In first with 311 points is Brad Carnes. In second with 306 is Jess Rose. In third with 304 is Crystal Smoke. In fourth with 297 is Mick Rose. In fifth with 296 is Kent Dolphy. In sixth with 293 is Chad Robb. In seventh with 291 is Matt Camper. In eighth with 286 is Nathan Singleton. In ninth with 284 is Joe Hewson. And in 10th with 282 is Greg Whited. Lap Traffic Nation, especially you fantasy players out there, I know it's early. We're only 3 races in, but I think the fact that you are limited on your cup picks is making a vast improvement and keeping things close. 10th to first is only 30 points difference. It's very close. It's still anyone's game with 11 weeks to go. You throw in the mix, some weeks there are 3 series you pick for with scores anywhere between 140 on down. Very easy to make some points up there. So I'm very happy. Hope you guys are with the changes to the league this year. And that said, let's get Crystal on the line and make some picks. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, she is the weekly high winner from this past week at Auto Club with a whopping 93 points, which may not sound very high, but with just Cup and Xfinity, that's a pretty strong showing. Welcome to the show, Crystal Smoke. Crystal, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Excellent.
I've got, not the week high that I wanted. It does seem a little low, but hey, we're working our way up.
Absolutely. So. Well, hey, you beat me, but I don't know if that's a feat or not, because just about anybody can beat me, as you well know.
Oh yeah.
What'd you think of the racing this past weekend?
I mean, I loved it. Anytime a car is on the track, I want to watch. So, I mean, I'm just one of those. If it's dirt, it doesn't matter. If there's cars going fast, I want to watch. I did, love the 5-wide salute for Jimmy and his family waving the green flag. Amazing. So
that was a great. I mean, that's one of just those feel-good stories that no matter what you want to complain about from the weekend, you can look back at that and just be like, you know what, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
So nice job with your picks. Let's see. I've got it written down here. You had Blaney and Jeb Burton. Very nicely done there. Or Harrison Burton.
Yeah.
Jeb Burton.
First win.
Yes, first win. Nice job there. All right. What is your take? Anyone that's called in tonight, I'm asking them, what do you think of the lug nut? Are you in favor? Are you not in favor? Or are you waiting to see how it plays out? What's your take?
I've watched NASCAR a really, really, really long time, and so a little bit hurts my feelings, but I also like the look of the new wheels, so it's kind of, I'm kind of in the middle. I'll see how it goes.
It
but,
is
you know,
definitely, it definitely, you know, the old saying, right? You know, win on Sunday, buy on Monday. It definitely has that showroom look to a tire for sure. I can totally appreciate that for sure. Crystal, what do you say? Are you ready to make some picks?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yes, Lap Traffic Nation, we are headed out west for the last weekend of the West Coast Swing, and we are headed to Phoenix. This used to be Kevin Harvick's playground, but he is winless in the last 3 trips out there and only has 2 wins in the last 9 trips. And I say only because it's hard to take away his 4 straight wins and 9 total wins at this track. Has he figured out the reconfiguration, and can he get back to victory lane at Phoenix? We'll find out. Toyota has won the last 3 races and 4 of the last 5, with 2 of those wins coming from Kyle Busch. Can he get back to victory lane? What about Joey Logano or Alex Bowman? Can they pick up a second win on the West Coast trip? Each manufacturer has a win. Who comes out leading the manufacturer win column? Can Crystal get back-to-back week highs? Can I crack the top 20? We'll find out all of this weekend. But first, it is time for our picks. Crystal, starting with you, who do you have for the Xfinity Series?
I'm going Brandon Jones.
Crystal. I got to tell you, I was so close to taking Brandon Jones this week. Like, literally, I had it down. I backspaced. And I changed my pick, Crystal, so you might be safe. You might be safe. I went with Justin Allgaier this week. So pickers beware if you take Justin Allgaier. All right, so far so good. Over to the Cup Series. Who do you got?
Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, Crystal, you are safe. You are safe. None of our picks lined up, so you're bound to have a good week. I am going with the 12 of Ryan Blaney. He's got a couple top 5 finishes there as of late. Should have picked up the win this past weekend, so I'm going to look for him to rebound there. Crystal, I think you're going to be okay. Hopefully look to see you move up the leaderboard. Appreciate you calling in, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you soon.
All right, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Talk to you later. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 170 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Like on Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast. Follow on Twitter, @LapTrafficPC. Subscribe, download on iTunes, Podbean, or your favorite podcast hosting site. Big thanks to Crystal Smoke, Brian Newdorf, and Justin Haley for calling in. I'll work on somebody for next week. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!